17104.com. Real Rap Around Chapel. Real Rap. Real Chapel. Whoa! Harrisburg. Harrisburg. All right, Chris. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hot mic in effect.
Hot mic. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Warming up the saddle for you, brother.
All right, bro. Cool. You know, you ride with someone else, man.
That's all well. That's all well.
Can't rush them.
No worries.
Caught every doggone light. They
No
could have
worries.
kept going.
You made it safely. That's what's up.
Yeah, thank God.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready.
You ready? Right,
I'm ready. I'm gonna run in and get a soda, but I'm ready.
All righty.
Yeah, send it to me so I can share.
Already did, brother.
Thank you.
Monday, 8 to 10
Eastern,
on the go.
17104.com. Real Rap Around Chapel.
Real rap.
Whoa!
This is Nicole Mack with Positive Force Experience on the Real Rap with the Ron Chapel Show every Monday 8 to 10
Okay.
Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
17104.com.
All right, thank you, Nicole Mount with Positive Force Experience, and thank you, Niagara, PA FEMC. Thank you, Pastor Chris Thomas, and thank y'all that are still here. I know that I said by 8:10, but I left out that one little word which means so much. I should have said approximately 8:10.
Sure.
Okay, but we're here. You're here, and that's what's most important. How y'all doing? Okay. Are you getting ready for this this Thanksgiving holiday coming up? You know, I mean, there's a lot of mixed emotions about Thanksgiving, matter of fact, about a lot of these holidays. You know, you have some people who speak of some of the pagan things with Easter, but they still celebrate Easter. You know, but not for those reasons that history would tell us about paganism and Easter. The same way I assume with Thanksgiving. You know, there's a very, very wicked story behind Thanksgiving. You know, it's not as peach and fuzzy as we were all taught in grade school about how the Pilgrims came over and how the Native Americans were friendly and everything and welcomed them in and fed them and took care of them. And then they had a big joyous feast. No, it was nothing like that. Period. You know, a lot of Native Americans end up getting slaughtered. As a matter of fact, you know, and the women were raped. You know, kids were brutalized, so on and so forth. And I think that's one reason why the symbol of Thanksgiving is the turkey. I think that there's a metaphor for how they really feel about the Native Americans. They welcomed them in, fed them, took care of them, and then what happened to them? The Pilgrims turned around, kicked their tail, raped their women, and took all of their stuff, took all of their land. Okay, and so I think that metaphorically, you know, that's why you know they're calling the Native Americans turkeys. You know, turkeys in a very, very cruel way. But I know that's not the reason why we celebrate it. You know, just like I said about Easter, you know, we don't go with the historical content of it. You know, and so that's why sometimes it kind of bugged me. The same people that talk about the paganism and everything when it comes to Christmas, for instance, Pastor Thomas.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir.
you know, they talk about, you know, the Roman gods, you know, like how the Romans had 11 guys flying around up in the air, you know, and you know, the god of this and the god of that, you know, but they still celebrate Christmas, and, you know, and they take it out of the historical context. They don't look at it that way, you know. And so I think, you know, as I say, people will be celebrating Easter the same way. And so we're going to talk about tonight, among other things, we're going to talk about Easter dinner etiquette. Chris Thomas, I sent you a picture, Easter dinner. I wasn't in early enough to let you know that I'm going to be calling for this, but if you put that up there when you get time.
On the one of the turkey?
Yes, we're going to talk about Easter dinner etiquette.
Or
Okay.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. I keep saying Easter. I don't know, man. You know what? Sometimes when you
Same
go
here,
to say
bro.
yeah, Happy Thanksgiving, I found myself over the years saying Happy Easter. You know, then I have to catch myself. You know, with George Bush moment. But right there, that's one of the subjects we're going to talk about tonight. And we want to entertain your views. You know, and suggestions about Easter. I mean, I said I did it again. Thanksgiving Day Fair. You know, that was a very, very big occasion in our household, Pastor Thomas.
Yes, sir.
You know, and Lord knows I miss my mom's cooking. That was the biggest holiday of the year as far as a feast in our household. Okay, so we'll get back to that later. So how you doing, Pastor Chris?
Hey, bro, I can't complain, man. My good days outweigh my bad. Looking forward to, you know, just gathering, you know, with the family on Thanksgiving. And eat some good food, man, and making some good memories, man. You know, who knows who may not be here next Thanksgiving.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So we should make the most of every day of every occasion, okay? And thank God for it, you know. And you know, it reminds me of a post that I put on my page. I shared it from another person's page. There was an elderly lady sitting in a chair, and she said words to the effect that she don't care anymore how people feel or whatever about her, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, being an elderly person, she just appreciates it. And I, you know, I had to like that particular post. You know, as a matter of fact, I shared it along with a caption: "Be very, very careful. Be extremely careful, and don't play yourself criticizing the elderly. Just remember that everybody don't get to be old. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody don't get to be among the elderly. And so count it a blessing if you live to be an elderly person, okay? And honor those that came before you, okay? Because they are the real reasons. They are the real reasons for you being able to enjoy the things that you enjoy now, the liberties that you enjoy now. What are some of the liberties, Ron Chapel? Some of the liberties are living where you can afford to live, attending schools that you are qualified to attend. Now, believe you me, it wasn't always that way. It wasn't always that way, Pastor Thomas.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't always that way that we could just enter into a restaurant that we wanted to eat at and sit at the counter. Sit at the counter. There's quite a few news reels about what happened back in the early 60s when some of these black college students tried to integrate a Woolworths counter. Now, for those of you Gen Xers that don't know what a Woolworth is, a Woolworth was like a five and dime top store, like a general store. And they had clothing in there, they had toys in there, they had jewelry, they had things like that, shoes, so on and so forth. But they also had a lunch counter. They had a lunch counter. I don't see many of those much anymore. When you go there, you sit on the stool at the counter and you order your hamburger, your cheeseburger, your whatever, you understand, your milkshake or whatever. And so that we had a lot of those back in the 60s and back in, I think, up until the early or mid 70s. Now, what would happen is that it just so happened that most of those places were segregated places. Black folks were welcome to come to the counter and order something, but they could not sit at the counter. They had to go sit out of sight of the other white customers. And so these 3 or 4 black college students decided to do something about that, and so they took it upon themselves to sit at the counter at this Woolworth store. And you saw the news reels how angry white customers came in behind them and started pushing them and hitting them and spitting on them and pouring milkshakes on them and so on and so forth, and virtually snatching them out of the seat and throwing them on the ground. And people filmed that, but the thing about the people that filmed it did not interfere to try to quell it. And just like a lot of situations like that were happening, cops stood around, security stood around, and they didn't do anything about it. They virtually let the angry mob tire themselves out, dragging and beating these innocent black college students. And I don't think I ever heard of any account where anybody got prosecuted for that, Pastor Thomas.
Wow.
Okay, and so anyway, like I say, the things that you see nowadays, the liberties that you have nowadays, you best believe somebody paid the freight for that. Somebody paid the freight for that. Somebody went before you to make it all possible for you to enjoy what you enjoy right now. And as far as living where you can afford to live, as a matter of fact, I can go back, Pastor Thomas, to when I was a little boy,
Sure.
and yeah, I was a little boy before. And anyway, I remember my mom looking through the classified section of the newspaper in Detroit, Michigan, that is, a progressive city up north, Detroit, Michigan. And she would actually look through the classifieds to try to find a place for us to stay at, for me, her, and my other siblings to stay at. And they had different classifications in the section. It was like Class A, Class B, Class C. Now, Class A, of course, were white only. Okay, white only. Class C, they allowed colored. And Class B was colored and white. They called us colored back then. They didn't go as far as saying black. Or Afro-American. It was way before that era, but color. It was white or either colored. You know what I'm saying? And so there was certain flats, certain buildings, apartment buildings that we couldn't even move into, Pastor Thomas.
Wow,
You understand
wow.
what I'm saying? And so that's the way it was. That's the way it was in Detroit. And I'm pretty sure that's the way it was probably throughout the nation. Down south, you didn't even want to think about having your mind to try to move into a community that wasn't a rundown, beat up old black community. You understand what I'm saying? And so, like I say, the liberties that we have nowadays, don't think they were always like this, because there wasn't. I remember the time, for instance, Pastor Thomas, as a young teenager. Now, I wasn't quite a young teenager, but probably now as an adolescent, 11, 12-year-old. Matter of fact, I was 13 when this was happening too. You could be standing in line at a bus stop, and then I'm gonna tell you that the winters in Michigan, the winters in Detroit were very, very cold and very, very snowy. You know, very, very cold. When a wind blew across the Great Lakes, it was like virtual ice water in the air. Comes January and early February. You could be the first one in line at a bus stop. There could be 10 people behind you. You can be the very first person there. Now, when the bus pulled up and they were all white bus drivers, the bus would stop wherever the first white person in line was, Pastor Thomas.
Okay. Okay.
If the white person was the fourth person in line, that's where the bus would stop at. He would open the door. You know, they would make a point of trying to let the white people on the bus first, no matter how you out there freezing, cold, you know, icicles, you know, hanging off your ears, you know, your nose, your mouth, the whole 9 yards, regardless if you were a preteen like myself, or if you were an elderly black person, you still waited till all the white folks got on the bus first, okay? And if you complain, if you hooped and hollered about that, guess what? You weren't even allowed to get on the bus, you know? And so those are the days that I remember. Those are the days that our people have progressed from. Those are the days that we have progressed from. A lot of you young folks out there, you don't know it. Ain't nobody taught you this, you know, and you probably don't even care about it. You say, well, I got mine now, and so that's all that matters. I'm gonna tell you something else you see nowadays is very common, Pastor Thomas.
Okay.
That's interracial marriages.
Sure.
That wasn't going on back then. No, that wasn't happening. You know, if there was a couple, there were a mixed race couple. You know, as a matter of fact, there were songs made about that. You know, one of the songs I remember by Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers. The song's entitled "Does Your Mother Know About It?" No, do your father know about me? You know, because it was a story of a black guy that was dating a white girl, and he was about to come over her house. You know, this was back during a time when Guess Who Coming to Dinner, you know, came out. You know, back during that era. You know, these interracial marriages that you see nowadays, they weren't as common back then. You know, they were, you know, they were just very, 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 very few and far in between. And nowadays, it's like commonplace. You know, people see a mixed race couple and they don't even bat their eye. You know, back then, I tell you, there was a lot of stopping and pausing and staring, you know, especially if they walked into a restaurant. If they walked into a restaurant, just about everybody in the restaurant would stop eating, you know, and say, you know, the audacity of this black guy, of this black so-and-so coming in here with this blonde-haired white woman. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, you know, it was very, very bad. It was very, very bad. And I'm pretty sure that the others on the other foot, you know, white men that married black girls, black women, I'm pretty sure that they probably encountered some of the same frowns and stern looks from people, you know, when they walked into public venues like that. And so, like I say, you know, please be grateful that you are in this era right now, right here, you know, where you have the liberties to live as you choose to live, to love who you choose to love, and to work where you choose to work at, and to live and to attend schools that you're qualified to live in, you know, because back then, you know, we had a saying, Pastor Thomas, you know, last one hired and the first one fired, you know, was that black applicant. Sometimes you go fill out an application and no sooner than you leave out the door, your application is being balled up and put in the file 13, you know, put right into the circular file, the trash can. And then you wonder why you were never called for an interview, let alone hired. Okay, so it's been a lot happening over the past 2 weeks or so. We lost a dear friend, brother Nevin Midland.
Sure.
Nevin Midland. You know, may he rest in eternal paradise. Rest in peace, Nevin Midland. Chris and I both knew him, and he was even on the program once or twice before. You know, him and I believe Scott Shepler.
Silverstein.
Scott Silverstein, I stand corrected. Yes, Nevin Midland, you know, and I tell you, he was a down-to-earth good guy. He was a good guy. And many times I reflect, you know, when he ran for mayor against Lyndon Thompson, you know, I sometimes have to pause and think that he may have been the proper choice, Pastor Thomas.
Okay.
I mean, once I really got to know him,
Sure.
But
Sure.
see, I got like a lot of other people, black folks, I got caught up all in that black thing. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
Black female running could be the first black mayor of Harrisburg, and so on and so forth. So I gotta admit that I got caught up in that. I got wrapped up in that, especially, where I came from. I was new in town, probably about maybe 4 years removed from Michigan, from Detroit, a progressively black town. You understand what I'm saying? And he came here and found out that matter of fact, it was quite a culture shock. Quite a culture shock. You talk to many people that live other places. They come to this region of the state, and they'll tell you it seems like the whole area is about 20 or 25 years behind time socially. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
A lot of occasions you'll see workplaces, where there's 20 black people, middle-aged, teenage, middle-aged, teenage, young adults, and they're all working, grinding, working like ants, and their supervisor is some 22 or 23-year-old white kid from across the river. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
And see, I came from a situation where there were plenty of black supervisors and also black managers. You understand what I'm saying? And come to this town, where they still try to browbeat a brother. You understand what I'm saying? And talk to grown men like they're 12-year-old children. And that was quite a culture shock. And it took a whole lot adjusting to realize, that, hey, I was in a different place. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a little side story, away from Nevin Midland. But Nevin Midland was a complete gentleman, and he was a very honest and a very, very caring person, and a person that was really concerned, with the so-called little people in this community. Pastor Thomas.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I got to mention again, when election time come up, and we're going to talk about the election too, the last election here, last general election in Harrisburg. But during election time, where a lot of candidates are campaigning, and they go to visit different churches and so on and so forth, and there's a lot of candidates want to come in for that 5 minutes of fame, I guess, before the congregation. They probably drove by the church 50, 11 times, or never even knew the church was there. But they come in during election time, and they want to give their campaign spiel to the congregation, Pastor Thomas.
Sure.
And then as soon as they're done, then they say, oops, I would stay, but I've got a previously scheduled engagement. That's their sort of go-to line to get out of there, And they get up, they say what they want to say, and then they get up and they leave. Well, there was three candidates that came to our church. At the time, I was attending Second Baptist. 3 candidates came to church that stayed. Not only did they stay for the offering, but they contributed to the offering, Pastor Thomas.
Okay.
They contributed to the offering, and also they stayed for the full sermon. Not only that, they made themselves available for questions after the sermon, after the service, Pastor Thomas. And that was the Honorable Gloria Martin Roberts, the Honorable Carl Singleton, and the Honorable Nevin Midland. Now, mind you, Nevin Midland is Jewish. Now, here's a Jewish man that went to a predominantly that attended service more than once at a predominantly Black Baptist church here in Harrisburg. And Nevin Midland stayed for the whole service, and he got up and he marched around the church, with each aisle, when your designated aisle was called, and he went up front and he made a contribution, made a contribution, and got back to his seat, sat back down, and then stayed after the service and entertained questions in fellowship hall. Now, I say that, I make a point of that because there's too many candidates that want to step into your church and tell you what they want you to hear,
Sure.
but don't want to hear nothing you have to hear. They don't want to
Wow.
hear a question, don't want to hear take a question or anything, but they want your support. But they don't want to support your cause. They don't want to support that church. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
And I see whether a person tithe or not, that's between them and their creator. Okay. You know what situation you're in, financially speaking, and God knows more than you. You understand what I'm saying? Now, but listen, every church has a building fund. They take an offering, but every church has a building fund. So you say, what is a building fund? This is a nice church, a nice solid structure. So why do they have to have a building fund? It don't look like they need to build another church. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
But a building fund is not necessarily to erect a new edifice. A building fund is for the light bill, the gas bill, the water bill, and this time of year, the heating bill.
Oh, man.
The heating bill. All that's part of the building fund. Okay, that's part of the building fund. If you care enough about that church to go on there to try to solicit the congregation's votes, well, then you should care enough and have enough self-respect, to help try to make sure that church stay afloat. Because somebody got to pay that light bill, somebody got to pay that gas bill, somebody got to pay that water bill. Somebody got to pay for security,
Sure.
for the alarm system, so on and so forth. And so you should be willing to reach down into your pocket, reach down into your purse, reach into your wallet, and give something, or open your checkbook and write something to leave for that church. I don't mean you have to make a real big to do about it. What they say. Like in the Bible, Pastor Thomas. Some folks go to the front. With a handful of change, a pocket full of change, and they spend about 15 minutes, dropping
Wow.
coins in there or whatever, making sure everybody saw them. That was just doing something for something.
Yes,
That
sir.
wasn't
Yes, sir.
doing something out of the kindness of somebody's heart because they wanted to. You know what? That also get me how some people say, well, I'm only doing this because I want to go to heaven,
Wow.
So I'm doing this because I want to go to heaven. Well, listen, to me, that tells me that they're very transactional with what they're doing. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Okay.
They're saying, look, I really don't mean to do this. I really don't want to do this, but I'm doing it because I want to win that prize. You understand what I'm saying? And so if I see that, you can best believe God sees the same thing. God sees the same thing. I don't think, those people are really giving from their heart. God loves a cheerful giver.
Sure.
Understand? God loves a cheerful giver. Okay, and so anyway, like I say, Nevin Menlin, brother, rest in peace. Chris, do you have a word or two you want to say about Nevin Menlin? Now you are a pastor with a microphone, so
Oh man,
I
I'll
will
keep
put
it
you on the
brief,
head count.
man.
Okay,
Sure,
man.
sure. Actually, not any bad words to say about Brother Nevlin. Has always been very cordial, very professional in all of our dealings. My mother actually spoke very highly of him. Actually, I believe they were more so colleagues than him and I. I believe she's probably more so closer to his age than I am. But again, our prayers go out, our condolences go out to his family, and may he rest in peace. And prayerfully, we look forward to seeing him in heaven as well.
Amen, 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 amen. Okay, and mention elections, politicians and elections. So we had a big election, big general election here back on November the 7th. Okay, and first I'm going to say congratulations to all the victors in those particular races. I know that they're campaigning for a position, for a seat in any election is a very, very challenging task. I think that that the bottom line is if you win or if you lose, Pastor Thomas.
Okay.
And I think that the only philosophical good thing about losing is that at least you tried.
Sure.
You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
You tried and it didn't work out. Either it wasn't your time or you did something wrong, or the people just apparently they preferred the other person. Now, I think that, there was some people that spent a lot of their energy and a lot of other folks' energy in a cause that did not pan out. And I think that, some of those people made some very bad mistakes,
Wow.
and I think that, very, very mistakes when it came to campaigning. And I think that those of you that intend on running for the next primary election, for a seat in the next primary election here in Harrisburg, will take note. Hope you'll learn. They say a smart man learns from his, or a smart woman learns from his or her mistakes. But a wise man learns, or a wise woman learns from someone else's mistakes. And so I hope that you be wise. I hope you learn from other folks' mistakes, okay? And I want to say, try to give tips every time during the election, Pastor Thomas. And I can honestly say that I gave what I thought was pretty good tips to two candidates over the years that they did not, I guess, feel were worthy, and they didn't use them, and both of them end up losing too. You know what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
And so, but anyway, not because they just they didn't accept the tips I gave them. It was other reasons, but it just may have played a part, because I think I gave them some pretty good suggestions, but sometimes, when someone is in all their glory of whatever, you can't say anything to them. They want to do it their way. They do it their way. And when the way don't work out, well, then they want to blame somebody else. When the first person they should blame should be the one in the mirror. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas? Okay, and so some tips. If you want to run for election here in Harrisburg, okay, if you want to run for election, make plans right now. Decide what you feel that you're qualified to be, as far as a city council member, a school board member, or whatever particular office, and start saving money. Start saving money today. If it's just $5, Pastor Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Start saving today. It costs money to finance a campaign. And I think that if you generally feel that you have a chance, or you wouldn't mind going into your own pocket and putting forth some of your own hard-earned money to help finance your campaign. Now I know one particular victor that did that, and that was Lamont Jones.
Yes, sir.
Lamont Jones, Harrisburg City Council. Congratulations to you. And also to Crystal Davis, Harrisburg City Council. Congratulations to you also. Now, both of them are business owners, and I know for sure that Crystal Davis is a property owner, multiple properties here in Harrisburg. And they cared enough about their campaign, and they were assured enough about their campaign, of their chances, that they put forth their own money in their campaign. I don't think that a campaign can be ran successfully just with contributions. You understand what I'm saying? Just with contributions. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. Start saving money, not only because there's gonna be many expenses coming along, as far as yard signs and the like. But also you have to have a budget set aside to pay campaign workers. Campaign workers should be paid. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas? Because after all, they're putting themselves out there. Co-signing what you're doing. They're co-signing you. I remember, Pastor Thomas, when I was running for office, I was even paying people that went around getting signatures. You understand what I'm saying? I was running for Harrisburg City Council, and I think the pay in was something like $20,000. It's like a part-time / full-time job. Part-time job or full-time work. Even though they get like 2 or 3 month vacation during the summer. But I was paying 25 cents per signature. If every signature you got, every legitimate good signature, 25 cents, you know. Now then when I ran for magistrate for the seat that retired Judge Solomon sat in, you know, before the election commission took that seat from us and closed that office down. You know, I told you when me and the other candidates put our money together and got a constitutional attorney, and we sued the Dauphin County Election Commission. We even sued the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, you know, and so the appeal was going to the Fourth Circuit in Philly, and by that time we were about $30,000, you know, in the hole, and so we just, you know, we just got on our horse and you know, paid the bill, of course, but we didn't pursue it any further, you know. But so when I ran for magistrate, the pay was $80,000 a year. $80,000 a year, Pastor Thomas.
Okay.
So you know what I did? I gave people 50 cents for a signature.
Wow.
50 cents for each signature. You understand what I'm saying? And I paid my own money because all I had was 3 donors. I had 3 donors.
Okay.
Matter of fact, Nevin Menlin was one of them.
Wow.
I paid my campaign workers $100. You know, these are people that would accept $100 a day to work at the particular polling places. You know, and so I was able to cover, you know, 4 polling places anyway. You know, and I ran between 2 or 3 myself. You know, 4 polling places. You know, and so I was paying them $100. You know, $100. You know, plus lunch to send out there to pass out flyers with my name. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
Because at that time, you know, I was pretty involved with politics here, with the political scene here in Harrisburg. That was back during the days when I was going to the city council meeting every week and speaking during the public participation session, 5-minute session, every meeting, you know. And I was approached by people like the late Reggie Guy, you know, that talked me into running for Harrisburg City Council and some other people, you know. But anyway, so ran for magistrate. Like I said, I was paying 50 cents for each signature on the petition and paying $100, you know, for the people that were standing out there. Because I'm gonna tell you, campaign workers should be paid. Campaign workers should be paid. And I think a lot of it should be calculated by what that office will benefit the person that wins that office. You know, now school board members, that is truly a labor of love because they're not getting paid anything, Pastor Thomas. Yeah, they should, at least gas money, if nothing else, you know, but I don't think they get any kind of tangible benefit, you know, other than the satisfaction of knowing that they're being involved in their communities, schooling, you know, for the children, for the welfare of the children, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to other positions, like for instance, judges, magistrates, and judges in Pennsylvania, the starting pay is $170,000 annually. $170,000 annually. It is a 6-year term. Now you can look it up. The average pay, matter of fact, it goes from $177,000 to $215,000 a year here in the Harrisburg area, you know, in Pennsylvania. It says the average magistrate or judge receives $178,000 a year, Pastor Thomas.
Wow.
A 6-year term. And so you don't have to be a mathematician to realize that over 6 years, whoever wins one of them seats will end up being a millionaire. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
Now, if I'm running for magistrate or if I'm running for judge, and I expect people to work at campaign polls for me, I would feel less than a man, Pastor Thomas, if I did not pay them at least $100 or $150 a day.
Okay.
$150 for their labor, because after all, if I win, I'm getting $170,000. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
So at least I can go in my pocket and give them something. At least I can pay them something. You know what I mean? Other than that, I tell you, what's that commercial? Other than that, it's robbery or this or whatever. You know, it's not civilized. In you know, other than that, you know, to not pay somebody something Because after all, like I say, if I win, I'm going to get all this. And all you're going to get is a satisfaction if I don't give you anything, if I don't not give, if I don't pay, people bug me with that stuff. When you do a job for them, they say, "Well, I'm gonna give you." No, you ain't giving me nothing. You're paying me.
Sure.
You shouldn't pay people to go out there and campaign. Matter of fact, you should pay people. Matter of fact, there's a lot of unemployed people in Harrisburg that you can pay that go up and down these doggone stairs and put flyers in put not in the mailbox because you can't do that by law, but put them under the mailbox or in the doorway or on the porch, or stand at grocery stores, stand wherever and pass them out. You should be willing to pay those people at least minimum wage. You know what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Pay them something. And so anyway, you should incorporate that into your budget to be able to pay them people. Another thing. Here's a suggestion. If you go out yourself getting signatures on your petitions, well, there for each person that signs your petition, you should have a bag or a box of buttons. 2x3, 2x4 buttons. And ask them if they would kindly wear one of your buttons. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
And that's all during the campaigning season. If you wear a button, because if you're wearing a button, well, then you're virtually a part of my campaign. You understand what I'm saying? You are influencing your friends, your neighbors, to at least consider me. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Yes, sir.
And also, you have your yard signs ready when you go to speak at various events. You have buttons and you have yard signs on hand, for people to take along with them. I never will forget, when I ran for city council, matter of fact, the same term that Westburn Majors, when he first got elected, it was him. Cornelius Johnson also ran at that time, Pastor Thomas.
Yes, sir.
And I know we were over at the Camp Curtin YMCA. And all these guys have brought in their campaign signs. They had them up against the wall. My campaign was self-financed, and I just didn't have any campaign signs. If I had some, I would have took them up to yard signs, rather, Pastor Thomas.
Sure.
When everybody got through speaking, I've seen people grab 2, 3, and 4 of Cornelius Johnson's campaign yard signs. Yard signs. That's what I mean to say. Yard signs, and take them with them, telling him that he's going to pass them out to the neighbors. So you should make sure that you have yard signs on hand when you go out to speak to various crowds, okay? Because not only may you have donors in that crowd, but you might also have people that would take your yard sign and put it in their yard. Another thing is that if you make it to the ballot, as a matter of fact, if you make it to the ballot, with everybody that's signing your petition, you should go by their household and ask them if you can now put one of your yard signs in their yard. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
If you put one of them yard signs, their yard signs in their yard. Also, if you have T-shirts, you should make sure you have a very, 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 very welcoming design on your T-shirt. You understand what I'm saying? And if everybody that allow you to put a yard sign in their yard in front of their house or whatever, you should give them a T-shirt. Ask them their size. If you don't have it in the car with you, or one of your workers don't have it in the car, well then you take their size and you bring it by the next day, and you hope that you ask if they will wear that T-shirt. All during election season. You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense. To wait until the day of or the day before the election and not only expect people to wear that T-shirt advertising you. You understand what I'm saying? But on top of that, after having donated to help you get shirts, they shouldn't have to turn around and buy the shirt. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
Buy the shirt that they already paid for. and then wear it the day before. It's made for a particular day, right? Which means that if it's not successful, now the shirt is obsolete. The shirt is obsolete, and no one is going to wear it. No one's going to wear it because no one wants to look stupid. You understand what I'm saying? Because what they look like wearing that shirt is a loser. You understand what I'm saying? And so anyway, if you're going to get shirts, that's part of your budget. You should have money to do that if that's what you want to do. And like I say, everybody that they're allowed to have a yard sign, your yard sign in their yard, they should be given a shirt so they can wear around before their neighbors. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
Because they may influence their neighbors to at least consider you. You know what I mean? And so that's all you really need. That's all you really need. That's all you really want to do is get your foot in the door. Get your foot in the door. Have them take a look at you. And then maybe they'll listen to you. You understand what I'm saying? Maybe maybe they'll take a look at you, and then maybe they'll listen to you. I see my neighbor. I see Chris wearing this shirt every day. Matter of fact, Chris, who is that person? And then you give me some information. Give me some paperwork on that person, and then that's someone that I will consider. You understand what I'm saying? But you should have already money set aside, whether it be money out of your pocket or donation money, to make sure that you compensate your workers. Let's consider somebody. George Hartwick. I think I brought him up. Last time we did a show. George Hartwick is probably on his 5th term, at least 4th or 5th term. And the last I heard, George Hartwick was paying his campaign workers $150, Pastor Thomas, $150 to stand out in front of the polls, just simply passing out his name. You're passing out his name, and people, the voters should already know you well enough that all I got to do is be reminded of your name. I know there's one particular candidate that won in this last election, and his campaign, the only thing they did was pass out a sort of 2x5 inch card with his name on it, just with the name, because that's all people at that point should really have to see. It's just your name. They should have seen you enough and heard you enough and witnessed you enough and saw the way you move enough that all they really need is to be reminded of your name. Nobody have time on election day to read a whole bunch of stuff. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
To read it, ain't nobody gonna take the time. First of all, they're gonna hope that the line ain't that long. The line ain't moving so slow that they can read a whole doggone newspaper about you. They should already have in their mind that they're gonna vote for you. Pastor Thomas. When I go to the poll, already have in my mind, I already know who I'm going to vote for.
Right.
Now, that's not saying that I cannot be persuaded, but it'd be very, very difficult to persuade me at the last moment, which I think that's what the average person. No one just go to the polling place speculating. I don't know, but maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You go to vote, you already got your mind made up who you voting for, and so you want to make sure that you get that across, that you go in there and you select that person. So people should have all that information already. No one should have to be at a polling place trying to explain to people who you are or what you are about. You know what I mean? They should already know that, and they should just be reminded of you. You understand what I'm saying? And so those are some ideas, and also something that a candidate can do. People did a lot of campaigning. My poster here, my flyer there, my yard sign here. Did anybody think about having a get out the vote rally? You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Okay.
Hey, get up. As a matter of fact, a get out the vote rally. Did anybody have a get out the vote rally? There's a lot of different venues where they could have had a get out the vote rally. They could have had one over there at District Lounge. if you want to support some local businesses, they could have had one there. You know, what's that? Who's that big girl that got that thing up there on Third? Somebody say she got big knees or something. The thing over here on Third upstairs. You know, they have a music thing going on.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Bro.
Okay, somebody got an organized music thing over there on Third Street. You know,
Is that the Singers Lounge? Or no?
yeah, the H, yeah.
Okay.
Could have got with them people, and sponsored something, and then had a get out the vote rally there. You know what I'm saying? Or listen, if you want to get a venue, here in Harrisburg to advertise your candidacy and have a get out the vote rally, you know, before the primary, well, if you contact me, I can line you up with some rappers, with some singers, with some DJs, with some spoken word artists, you know, people like that, you know, with some comedians, you know, so if you want to put on a show like that, which will also be a fundraiser and a get out the vote situation, contact me, okay? It's just one thing you got to remember though, you have to pay these people. You have to be willing to pay these people, you know, because, you know, these people will be there to help promote your campaign. Another thing about it, you know, another thing is that you should not want to have to sell your T-shirts to people that'll be obsolete the very next day. But on top of that, people, you should feel that people are doing you a favor just by wearing your T-shirt. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
They're wearing your T-shirt, so they're doing work for you right then and there. You know, they shouldn't have to pay for that. You should be, matter of fact, you should be paying them. At least you can pay them is to give it to them. Give it to them. This is your gift. This is my appreciation for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? What's your size? What's your size? What's your size? Okay. And so, like I say, some of those ideas I think would be beneficial for someone that's considering running for political office. You know, but like I say, it takes money. It takes money. It takes guts. It takes patience. It takes character, and you have to be willing to hear no. You have to be willing to hear no. Now, if 3 people tell you no, 4 people tell you no, if that's going to crush you, well, then it's not the line of work for you. It's not the endeavor for you. You know, you should feel like this. Now that I got the no's out the way, now let's start hearing some yeses. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
Now let's start hearing some yeses. But you got to be in it. You got to be in it to win it. You got to be in it to win it, to win it, to win it, because close only count in horseshoes and hand grenades. Only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. The almost, if you would have did right, and I'm gonna tell you, you cannot win an election. You cannot win an election on social media. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. First of all, everybody isn't on social media. The second thing is that you have to campaign before more than just your friends. More than just your friends, unless you have 6,000, 4,000 friends in that particular city, or unless you know a quarter of the city, you don't have enough doggone friends to get you elected. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and you can't do it with clicks. You know, there's a candidate, I'm not going to call this candidate's name, but they tried to, this is someone else. Just like one of the last people I spoke about that intentionally boycotted our show. This person tried to do it by a clique. They thought their clique would carry them through, but there was not enough members in their clique, and so they end up not getting elected either. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
And another thing is that you have to be personable. You have to be personable. You have to be willing to get out to greet people. And smile and be outgoing and be accessible and being approachable. You know, I was at a public event, Pastor Thomas, probably a month before the election, right?
Okay.
There was a lot of different people in there. You know, some of the movers and shakers. As they're called in the Harrisburg area. There's one candidate walked in. I'm not going to call the candidate's name. This candidate walked in, Pastor Thomas. And they were focused just like this, eyes straight ahead, with a stern look, didn't acknowledge anybody, hey, how you doing? First of all, listen, when you walk into a room, if there's one person or if there's other people in that room already, I don't care job, wherever. When you walk into a room, it's incumbent upon you to speak or to address, to recognize other folks in that room. You understand what I'm saying,
Sure,
Pastor
yes,
Thomas?
sir, yes, sir.
You don't wait until they speak to you. Is it common for you to address, to speak, to nod, to whatever, smile at everybody in that room, unless you got some kind of, unless y'all got some kind of ill feeling thing going on. You know what I mean? You don't wait till people speak to you, but either recognize you. But this person walked in just like this, eyes straight forward, stern look, and with their head back, like I'm the stuff.
Wow.
Everybody should stand up and then bow. I'm the stuff. Looking straight ahead. Didn't make eye contact with anybody. No smile, no nod, no wink, no whatever. The person lost. The person ended up losing. They walked in like they just knew they was gonna win. Like this is mine. I'm the stuff. You know what I mean? And they lost. You got to be able to connect with people if it's not just with a smile. Let people know. People want to feel like they're worthwhile, Pastor Tom.
Yes,
You understand what I'm saying?
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Everybody wants to feel like they are worthwhile. They want to feel like they are all right in your eyes. And if you're asking people for something, if you're asking people for their vote, the very least you can do is to speak to them, to give them a pleasantry, to smile at them. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
Because people remember that. People will remember that. And people will also remember when you don't do it,
That's
which apparently a lot of them did, they did remember, what I'm saying? So anyway, like I say, if you want to run for office, number one, start saving money now. Start organizing your steps, your campaign right now. Know this, that your signatures have got to be correct. You will be challenged. There's a legal process. You will be challenged. There will be people that will be looking for shortcomings with your petitions that will try to kick you off the ballot. That's happened several times. Like I say, Pastor Thomas, I challenged a couple of people.
Sure.
I challenged a couple of people under the Hatch Act. You understand what I'm saying? But because I didn't get a notice to show up in court till about 10 hours before court, and because I did not show up on time, I lost. The cases were thrown out, and the two people remained on the ballot, and I forfeited my money because when you challenge somebody, you got to make a deposit. I think it was something like $200 and some for each person, but end up losing. Why? Because I wasn't there. You understand what I'm saying?
Wow.
And that's why, like I say, I think this one person was done wrong when they were called to show up at a hearing, when they were challenged and they were not able to face their accuser. You understand? I think the judge should have just dismiss that challenge, but that's the way things work sometimes, especially when you don't have proper legal representation. Going back to what I heard this one judge tell this one client, one defendant, that swore it down he was innocent, and the judge said, well, that's when you really need an attorney.
Wow.
That's when you really need a lawyer.
Wow.
When you're innocent. You understand what I'm saying? Because your words can be misconstrued. You know what I'm saying? You could be saying one thing, but the way you say it, someone can take them words and twist it to mean something else entirely different. You can say, for instance, I like Pepsi Cola, and they can say, okay, you like Pepsi Cola, but why do you hate orange cola? You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
Why do you hate
sure.
orange soda? Well, that's not what you said. That's why you need a lawyer there. To make it specific, that you answer that direct question about what you like, not what you didn't like. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so anyway, so those are some of my tips. Those are some of my suggestions. If you intend on running for a political office in this area, Ron Chapel, well, so much. Why didn't you win? Well, there's a number of reasons why I didn't win. First of all, because they chose somebody else. That's the main reason, Pastor Thomas.
Sure.
Other reason, I didn't have the finance to really campaign the way I might have campaigned. And the third reason, Harrisburg being a small, close-knit community with so many big families. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas? I come in as an outsider. I'm not the the cousins. I'm not the cousins, best friends, nephew of Willie, Joe, Mary, Sue from way back 30 years ago when the families used to party on the flat top and etc. And went to William Penn. None of that had none of those connections. No blood connections whatsoever in Harrisburg. Now, on the same token, many times I feel had I stayed in Detroit, Pastor Thomas, where I got all these families and all these friends and everything, might have been elected city council,
Sure.
might even be the mayor of Detroit by
Wow,
now.
wow.
That is extremely possible. That is extremely possible and highly probable, but no. I went east, young man. Anyway, so those are some of my tips about running for election here in the Harrisburg area. And, it might have made some people enlightened and might have made some people mad. But, I really don't care, if you get mad because I'm that guy and someone need to say it. And so I said it, and you're rather for me to be honest with you or you want me to bear false witness or, in other words, lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you because I don't have any need to. So I hope you found something worthwhile with that. Okay. Now let's get back to the subject at hand. I spoke about Thanksgiving, Pastor Thomas,
Sure.
and I'm gonna tell you something, man. I really miss my mom, especially on these occasions. Because of the good cooking. Thanksgiving was the biggest feast in our family. Mom would, of course, make the turkey and dressing, cornbread dressing. Are you a turkey and dress? Are you a dressing guy or a stuffing guy, Pastor?
I like stuffing, bro.
You like stuffing?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
okay. Well, born in Alabama, I like cornbread dressing. So we'd have the turkey and dressing, like about a week or two leading up to Thanksgiving. I noticed Mom would always take the leftover cornbread and put that like in a baggie, set that in the refrigerator. Anyway, she made cornbread dressing, and we'd have collard greens, and fried chicken and potato salad. You know, I know I'm going to forget something. Potatoes. So probably about 7 or 8 different courses altogether. You know what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Yes, sir.
And then and also a ham. And then chitlins and sometimes hog maws too. Country people. From Alabama. And she make a sweet potato pie, a couple of sweet potato pies. I would bake a coconut cake. She make a lemon meringue pie. She make a banana pudding, a big banana pudding, and also a peach cobbler. That's something that folks down south, they're crazy about the peach. She make a delicious peach cobbler. And I know I'm going to forget some of these other things, that she used to prepare, but it was a real big occasion, and even a dog was smiling because the dog knew it had some real good leftovers at the end of the day.
Sure.
And so I said I would make a note about some information about Thanksgiving Day etiquette. If you are invited to dinner, and I say these things because apparently a lot of folks don't know. A lot of you out there were raised in a single parent household and you never had a father around to tell you certain things. Not that your mother couldn't, but your mother was so busy doing other things, trying to wear 2 hats, that she probably didn't have the time to impart these things to you. So I'm gonna, give you, and see, like I tie this in with Pastor Thomas with how sometimes it's so very difficult for a black man to try to instruct some of these young black boys, Pastor Thomas, because face it, they're 18, 19, or 20, and they never had a man in their life, in their household, to tell them what to do, to tell them to take out the trash, to tell them to do their homework. They're not used to that, they're not used to that. And so anyway, that's why there's so much friction sometimes when a man try to tell them, no, I'm paying you to do the job, so go over, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? And so anyway, and so a lot of folks haven't learned these things. And so let me start like this. If you are invited to someone's household for Thanksgiving dinner, okay, first of all, it is common and it is acceptable for you to come and bring something. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's nice for you to bring something. You know, it could be some ice cream. It could be, you know, whatever. Bring something, eggnog. You know, it'll be a nice gesture for you to come not empty-handed. You know, if you can afford to bring something, of course, the people will overlook it if you don't, because after all, you weren't expected to bring anything. But it'd be a nice gesture to show up with something. And also, if you bring something, be prepared to leave it, Pastor Thomas.
Sure.
You don't take nothing over somebody's house to a dinner, and then after everybody ate, you don't pack it up and take it back home with you. You know, you shouldn't want to do that anyway. First of all, that's unsanitary. You know what I mean? And so on and so forth. And so be prepared to leave it. And one of the most first and foremost things is that if you are feeling sick, you know, COVID is still out there, so is the flu. If you're coughing, you're wheezing, you're sneezing, you got chills, cold sweats, stay home. Stay home. Do everybody a favor and stay home. They will understand if you did not attend. Okay, you don't want to go there and make everybody else sick. You know, and please respect the rules of that household. Please respect the rules of that household. You know, if you know you're invited to eat at somebody's house, and they say, okay, well now let's eat. One of the first things you should say is, where can I wash my hands? You should want to go and wash your hands, and preferably not in the sink. You got too many people that want to go around washing their hands in the sink, stuff flying off their hands and flying over on the dishes, the silverware, whatever that might be close. So you should always make sure that you wash your hands before you sit down at the table, okay? And also, don't wear your hat. Take your hat off when you come to somebody's house. Take your hat off when you come to somebody's house. It's disrespectful to walk around like Dennis Rodman, you know, with a hat on in somebody's house, especially at their table. You know, Dennis Rodman said that President, well, you know, like the leader of North Korea,
Okay.
Young-un, said at this table, and it should have embarrassed every black man in America, because he not only sat there with his hat on, he sat there with his glasses on.
Wow.
That's not cool. That's a no-no. Don't wear your hat to anybody's house or to anybody's Thanksgiving table. And like I said, if you're sick, stay home. And notice that some people say grace before they eat, okay? Once the food is served, they ask a blessing, okay? So be willing to ask a blessing, or at least sit there and respect it. Sit there and respect it, you know? And also, like I say, please practice proper etiquette. And if you have to cough or something or sneeze, don't do like this in your hand and then say, pass the bread, please. No, you don't do that. You don't do that. First of all, they taught us wrong way back in grade school. They said if you got a cough, cover your mouth, okay? They should have said cover your mouth with something. Cover your mouth with something. If it's not just your elbow. You don't cough on your hands and then go and shake hands or go and touch something that's edible that other people have to eat from. You don't do that, because what you've just done, you've just contaminated everything in that particular bowl. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
And so, and don't go to somebody's house saying, I know I got a cold, but remember the verse, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Well, listen, the germs coming at you can prosper in a negative way against somebody else, okay? It can contaminate that food. I think with that verse, with no weapon formed against me, I believe that it's speaking of spiritual weapons. For instance, your hate, your spells, your jealousy, those things, those spiritual thoughts of yours cannot prosper against me, okay? Because God won't let them in, you understand? So I think that is what that verse implies, okay? Because physical things, you can say that verse all day long. If somebody hits you with a doggone bat, it's going to hurt. and it's going to do some damage. You understand what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I think that's speaking of spiritual things. There might be some pastors out there wrestling with me about that. Chris, you might be one of them, but you're bringing on. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that I'm correct about that. That is spiritual. That it speaks about spiritual weapons formed against you shall not prosper. And so anyway, be willing to also say your prayers. Before you eat. And also, don't bring any pets. Don't bring any pets. Nobody want to see your cat. Nobody want to see your dog, no matter how much you think it's a part of your family, okay? Maybe if it's a part of your family, well, then let it stay in your house. Don't bring your house pet to someone else's home on Thanksgiving. Nobody want your dog, your cat, hair flying around their food. And no one wants your dog or their cat, your dog, your cat brushing up against them. Wintertime, a lot of folks wear some expensive clothes. They wear different wool outfits, suits and coats and furs and so on and so forth. And nobody wants your cat jumping up on them. No one wants your dog brushing up against them, jumping up on them, okay? And so please, please don't bring your pets. And if you have pets at home, please lock them in a room. Please lock them in a room, lock them in the basement. They should not be out there among the guests that are coming to your house to eat. You don't want guests coming to your house getting offended, and especially getting sick, or going home scratching because something done jumped off one of your pets on them. And so be sure that you're mindful of things like that. And don't bring your friends to somebody else's house for dinner. You understand what I'm saying? If they weren't invited. Now, someone say that you can bring a guest, Pastor Thomas, well, then that's all well and good. We either call ahead, call ahead, and say, this is my frat brother, this is my sorrow sister, she's in town, you mind if I bring her back? You know what I mean? You should do that. Don't just show up at somebody else's house, with someone that they don't know. And see, like with me personally, Pastor Thomas,
Sure.
I think that a day like Thanksgiving is so much of a family day, a family and close friends day, that with me, if I haven't been rocking with that family all year, Pastor Thomas, I would feel very, very out of place and very, very uncomfortable just showing up for Thanksgiving. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Some people, they'll go anywhere, anywhere at any time and think nothing of it. But me, like I say, I gotta have interacted with that family all year. I met somebody, like 2 or 3 days ago that didn't know my situation, Pastor Thomas. And they were inviting me over to dinner for Thanksgiving. Now, first of all, this was a lady, a grandmother, and she had already told me that she had 3 sons. She got 3 sons and 15 grandchildren, Pastor Thomas.
Okay.
And I couldn't say no thank you quick enough. No, I could not say no thank you quick enough, Pastor Thomas. I mean, because why would I? As a matter of fact, if I was in my 30s, I don't think I'd put myself in that position. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas?
Sure.
3 grown sons, and my first time over there is Thanksgiving, and everybody sitting up looking at me. Who are you? What are you about? Come on, man. I wouldn't put myself through no mess like that. And 15 grandchildren, I don't know if I had the patience for that when I was in my 30s. 15 running all around the place, and these are people that drink too, and I'm a non-drinker, Pastor Thomas.
Right.
And so, but listen. So no, like I say, people are different, but me, if I just met the people, or if I haven't been interacting with them, even if they're somebody I work with, I had been over their house 2 or 3 times before already, or they over mine, before I feel comfortable going to their house for Thanksgiving dinner, like I say, but that's just me. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, well, matter of fact, the time on the clock, the clock on the wall is about to run out. But like I said, there are certain foods I would not eat in anybody's house anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like deviled eggs. The only deviled eggs that I can eat right now are deviled eggs that are prepared by Eleanor. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I know that she's clean, and I know that they're clean. Because when it comes to things like deviled eggs and cupcakes, that someone that had their hands all over, you got to be very, very careful, very, very careful about that. You understand what I'm saying? very, very careful, about what you eat. Some folks don't like eating other people's cooking anyway, because some folks, face it, are just not clean. You understand what I mean? How many times have you heard somebody, well, matter of fact, no, I'm not even going to say that, but like, you just got to be very, very careful. You just got to be very, very careful. If you're invited out, consider it a blessing, and do do be on your best behavior, and please edit your conversation, and everybody want to hear all that nigga stuff, come in, with all your nigga talk. You understand what I'm saying? And if you drink, well then just don't show, if you drink, and if they're not drinkers, well, you might want to consider coming back some other time, or call them and ask them if they can give you a plate. The same thing if you got a friend in the car, and if they look like they're skeptical about letting their friend in, which you shouldn't have brought anyway, ask them if you can bring that friend a plate to the car. You understand what I'm saying, Pastor Thomas? And so, like I say, those are some of the etiquette tips, that I want to speak of. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, so if you got people coming over, please don't have a cat running around the kitchen, jumping up on the table and stuff like that, and you think it's cute because you think it's cute because ain't nobody gonna eat your food. You understand what I'm saying? And speaking of that, you gotta be very, very careful about some of these potluck dinners nowadays. Some folks are clean. Hopefully, the people you're dealing with. And so, I just want to say, okay, I want to take this time, Pastor Thomas, to wish you and the family a very, very happy Thanksgiving. Okay, and to you, all the viewers out there, whenever you're seeing this, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And yeah, another thing, if you're at a table, if you're done eating, please excuse yourself from that table. Don't sit up trying to hold a conversation with people when they're trying to eat and you are finished. And don't be standing behind somebody trying to talk to them. Excuse yourself from the table, please. Go in the room, watch my Lions play, or go in the room, go outside, smoke a cigarette or whatever, go to your car, smoke a cigarette, whatever. But like, don't stand over people that are eating, and just because you're done, you think they want to hear everything that you got to say. Laughing and goof on over there and stuff flying out like 40 going north, on their food, And so anyway, just be safe out there. Be safe, be respectful, and be respectful and be kind to everybody, and treat people well, because you never know. You never know when you will encounter those people again, and treat them the way you want to be treated. Being that you treat yourself well, you treat yourself decent, you treat yourself with respect. And so that's what I want to say. I want to say, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And go Lions. Yeah, we finally have a team, and we're going to talk about it. Because this is new territory for us. We're not used to it. We're not used to having a winning team with the Detroit Lions. If you know anything about it, well, then you know what I'm saying. But we have a team now, and so we're going to tell it. Yes, sir.
Now, we were talking about acknowledging people that were in the room. We introduced a new TikTok audience to the program today, and I'm sure there's a couple hundred viewers. I don't know if you want to address them and say goodbye in closing, and invite them to come back to the show Monday nights, 8 to 10 o'clock.
Okay, well, listen, hey, it's Ron Chapel here. Well, you know who I am because you've been watching. I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time to view the program, and I hope that you'll join us next Monday night, generally at 8 o'clock, at 8 p.m. A little transportation problem that delayed my arrival tonight, but everything should be back on tap 8 p.m. Next week. Now, we also have another program this time slot. Matter of fact, we have two more. We share this program between this time slot between the programs. We also have the Ron Chapel Show. Now, on the Ron Chapel Show, we feature local residents. Some are political, some are in the entertainment field, and some are the so-called everyday Joe and Mary lunch bucket. And so we hope, and we want you to get a flavor of how things are here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the capital of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We also share this time slot with Monday Night Chapel that we have on occasionally, where we feature various pastors deacons, various pastors, pastors, bishops, and apostles that come on as our preacher of our to break the bread of life. And so I want to thank you, and I hope you'll make this your destination every Monday night from here at the Voice 17104. Peace and blessings, and good night. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Okay, Jelly, also left out one thing. Okay. Yeah, generally, I just want to come back on and say we have a call-in format also. We are an interactive talk show. And so if you want to give us a call sometime during the broadcast and speak on a subject or a subject of your choice, because we have open forum a lot, the only guideline is no profanity, please. And the telephone number is 717-889-7181. That's 717-889-7181. Thank you. Okay, folks, the clock on the wall says that's all, y'all, for this version of the Real Rap with Ron Chappell. And so we want to thank y'all for watching this video. And I guess right now, a lot of y'all about to watch the Eagles play. This is a Monday night and Monday Night Football. And, you know, like I made a little post. I don't know if I should repeat it or not, but I said, you know, that I an Eagles fan. Eagles playing tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs, incidentally, which my team beat at the beginning of the season. There's Chris Starmus right there. Okay, and so you know, I said, well, we may be facing y'all, you know, one day. I spoke about the playoffs coming up, and the guy said, oh man, please, you know. And so I took that, you know, as being arrogantly smart aleck. And so I wrote that I hope that the Eagles lose tonight. That's a good kid. But anyway, so yeah, but anyway, so y'all are either watching the game now or this might be after the game. And so anyway, I hope the best team wins on Monday night. You're seeing this after the game. And I hope that my Lions win on Thursday. And if the Eagles lose, I hope they don't come back, my words don't come back to the universal law of nature, or some call karma, and doom my Lions. But I don't think so. I don't think they will. Good night, everybody. Peace and love. So the TikTok or something.
Yes, sir. All right, TikTok, God bless you. May heaven smile upon you. Again, we'll be back broadcasting tomorrow afternoon around noon. So check us out on all social media platforms at The Voice 17104 or hashtag TheVoice17104.com. God bless you. Good night. More great stuff on the way next.
That's nice.
You gotta download this, brother.
Huh?
You can put some pep back in the show, brother.
Oh yeah.
342.
Oh really?
No shares, nothing. You need to download that app on that phone and then direct them to the video, man.
Yeah, how you do it?
Just download TikTok from the App Store on your phone.
Oh really?
Go to the App Store, download TikTok.
You think you can share that over to me?
Huh?
You can share that over to me?
I believe so.
Well, I got expectorate right now. You said 342 views?
342 live.
Oh, really?
I just sent you the stats, dude.
It'll tell you how many you had. Top viewers, 2, large center. Latest live. There, I'll send this to you too.
Huh?
I'll send this to you too. No shares, nothing, brother. Straight out the box.
That's great, man.
Yeah, man, breathe some life, man. They ain't trying to hinder the viewer. That's the way Facebook used to be when back in the day when we first started. You just turn it on, you get 300-400 views, and now it ain't like that no more. But TikTok, man, that's like that all the time. I did 3 shows on there, and combined it almost got 1,000 views, just 3 shows, man. And then you could always direct them back to your Facebook from TikTok. So that's one of the benefits of downloading that. Put it on your phone. I mean, you got to get 1,000 followers to be able to go live, but you can pre-record and upload up to 10 minutes. So you can do small segments of the show and build your followers up, and then work on going live. So just go to the App Store and download